Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, Preston Pysh dissects the nuanced relationship between Bitcoin and blockchain technology. Preston highlights prevalent misunderstandings surrounding blockchain's superiority over Bitcoin, attributing it to a lack of comprehension or potential ulterior motives. The discussion delves into the indiscriminate use of the term blockchain, its potential for exploitation, and challenges in tokenizing securities on decentralized ledgers. Additionally, Preston questions the viability of achieving true decentralization on protocols like Solana and hints at potential distractions from Bitcoin's underlying accumulation by savvy investors.
You know, to our earlier point about Jamie Dimon, there are some very smart or successful people out there who still don't understand that Bitcoin is the one you want to be focused on. And they go off and they say, no, it's blockchain that is the innovation and smart contracts on top of it. And we saw that actually recently with Franklin Templeton, right? They came out, they made some cool posts about Bitcoin and got the laser eyes and that meme where it was the 60-40 portfolio veering to the right, adding Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden it was like, psh, blockchain is the innovation. And we're like, oh man, you were so close. What's happening?
I want to stomp this term. Like, okay, people throw around the term blockchain all the time. And I'm convinced that they're doing it for one of two reasons. The first reason is they just don't even know what they're talking about. Okay, that's why they're applying this term blockchain to everything. The second is much more sinister in that they're using blockchain as a marketing mechanism to sell some type of garbage that is a rug pull. So what do I mean by this? So going back to what I said when we were talking about the ego death capital, and you're talking about security and not optimizing for scalability, but optimizing for decentralization and security with the trilemma. Okay. A real blockchain, in my humble opinion, has to have those two things, or else it's just some type of ledger that can be manipulated by an outside party. And if that can happen, why aren't you just using a database, right? Why aren't you using a database? There's a lot of talk right now, and maybe we talk about this next if you have an interest in it, Natalie, is the tokenization of securities.
Yes.
And when we talk about that, we are talking about ledgers that inherently have outside parties that are managing these ledgers. Is that something that you can do in an actual decentralized way without tying stock certificates back to corporations, which are tied to states that allow them to issue these stocks? Right. And I'm not convinced that is necessarily solved or solvable. The jury's out for me. I'm not saying one way or the other, but there's things there that I think are very suspect of whether you can do that in a trustless, going back to the word trustless kind of way. When I look at doing this on Solana, right? You can have an opinion. Is this a 3-letter agency coin that, it's FTX. This is literally FTX's protocol that evidently went bankrupt or whatever status that it's emerging as, because the Solana coin is bidding and the protocol is bidding. But guess what? It's optimized for scalability on layer 1. Mm-hmm. So that means it's either not optimized for security or decentralization. Mm-hmm. Which means it has a vulnerability, which means there's somebody in there that can pull the strings on security or decentralization, which means you're building on quicksand.
Yep. So
if you're issuing, and I guess this is where I'm a little frustrated with Larry Fink coming out and saying, oh, we're going to tokenize everything. What protocol are you going to do that on? There's tons of hope that you can potentially do some of this stuff on Bitcoin with the Taproot asset protocol or whatever, but it doesn't negate the concern that I have as far as the stock certificates being still tied to the SEC, which are tied to the states that are issuing the stock. Today, just as a little bit of background, today the way that this works is through the Depository Trust Company, the DTC. They're the ones that literally hold the ledger of all stocks or certificates. And if BlackRock sends 100 shares of Apple over to Goldman Sachs, it goes through DTC to relist that on their ledger that that 100 shares were moved from one to the other, right? That's a centralized ledger. That's a digital ledger. The clearing on this today is T+2. Okay, and people might be familiar with these terms with the ETFs because the ETFs are T+1. But stock certificates on DTC are T+2. And so is DTC going to suddenly step out of the way and say, oh yeah, we're going to do this all on top of Ethereum or Solana? Like, I don't know. I think that this is if I had to guess, and this might sound very tinfoily hat to people, I think this is distractive interviews on CNBC, so people look over here as they continue to stack as much Bitcoin as they can onto their balance sheet. My personal opinion, but maybe I'm thinking they're way smarter than they are.
So, what do you think about this Bitcoin discussion? Do you agree with Preston and his arguments? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoy this type of content and want to see more, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, keep learning and keep stacking.